Hey, welcome back to TwoSun Tuesday, and this little piece of industrial engineering here is the TS337 from Wong. This thing is interesting. We have quite a few layers of milling kind of going on here before they did end up doing a coating on here. Not sure what it is. Doesn't feel like a Cerakote, so probably more or less like a PVD or something like that. Not quite sure exactly what they do for blacking on the titanium, or the blades for that matter, since this has both. It's got the flipper tab there, kerchunk. And yeah, for the most part, this thing looks like, kind of a standard droppish point sort of a blade shape, but it does swoop up here at the top quite a bit. Has some nice action on there. Mine's probably just a little tiny bit loose, yeah. So the it's just maybe a little bit off from center, but that's basically my fault, not theirs. So this thing is pretty interesting because it's quite thin, and that can be a definitely good thing for a lot of people here. At the highest points, this thing is 0.51 of an inch, or just a little over half inch. I don't know exactly what that is in the metric parlance, but yeah, I can figure that out. Basically 13 millimeters there. But as you can see, that's only at a couple of little tiny areas here. The rest of it is under half inch, and some of it really dips down in there. So quite thin, but because of all of this stuff going on here, it does have a nice amount of grip going on with it. I do like that quite a bit. Nothing super sharp on here. Everything is nicely rounded off, but it just gives you a lot of topographic kind of gription sort of stuff there. Yeah, I don't really like the word gription, but I don't know. I guess Nick Shabazz was on the brain or something. But okay, yeah, so this thing does have a cutout here. For me, it's at a very strange angle. I can't really seem to get a spidey flick going on that, but your mileage may vary on that. I'm sure it's possible. The pocket clip is actually a little different on this one, especially for Wong. It's quite short and not at the back there, so that does mean that you're going to have quite a bit of the knife kind of sticking out of your pocket there. I certainly don't care whatsoever about that, but I know that's something that a lot more people are worried about these days. But very short throw on here. It does have a decent ramp up to it. It's not the worst thing in the world to try to get into the pocket there. And you can actually see that the pocket clip does basically, yes, on the back there, it has that kind of larger area at the 0.51 inch thick mark that it lands against, and it's not on the lock bar at all. We have external lock bar relief. I kind of wish that it was on the inside because we got so much other stuff going on there. But I suppose because we have so much other stuff going on there that this isn't all that bad. Since I didn't cover it before, this is in D2. This one in particular, the model is listed as the TS337-D2, which does make me think that this might end up being released at another point in different steel. I don't know if that would be 14C28N or AUS8 or M390 or S90V or whatever. But at least, yeah, when they're listed on eBay, it is listed as the 337-D2. But yeah, in a typical Wong fashion, this thing is fairly large and long. We got 3.62 inches going on here for the blade. And that's from this little point here out to the tip. So we can see we have just a little bit more cutting length than that. We have, a decently deep choil going on there, but a fairly gradual plunge grind going on there. So you can see I did hit a little bit of that plunge grind when I was doing sharpening. Yep, both sides, because that's apparently the way I roll. But that's perfectly fine. To me, that doesn't really matter all that much. It does matter with some aesthetics, but functionally, it's still fine. We have just a little bit proud on the lock bar here, and they're scalloped, or at least on the lock bar side here. So really easy to end up disengaging that. I don't even have problems in my gloves, even though at the moment about the only kind of gloves that I end up using are these mechanics guys with the leather palms there that I use for doing a lot of cut testing and things like that. I don't really use winter gloves in the winter unless I'm on a motorcycle, because I don't really want to lose my fingers to frostbite. But you know, just in winter in general, I don't generally use gloves because they don't work well enough on the extremes of my fingers. They keep my palms warm, but they're already warm. So yeah, it just doesn't work out so well for me. But yes, this thing, nice grind, nice and thin behind the edge there. Not super thin, but thinner than a fairly average kind of knife going on there. So not quite as thin maybe as some Civivi or Wies might end up getting, but yeah, this is still a very nice and thin behind the edge there. Blade stock thickness on this is 3.8, but yeah, you can see that's basically measured back here with a little bit of jimping. But we have this swedge. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, so we got a full-length swedge sort of thing going on there. That helps also kind of thin the blade out a little bit. I do end up liking that whole shape overall. It's nice because I do have a bit of swell up here at the front, so that seems to be a little bit more comfortable for my hands, especially in that saber grip there. But it does thin out the blade a little bit for a little bit more ease on doing some EDC tasks. The action on this guy is pretty darn good, especially considering we have a coated blade here. Not quite the absolute drop shut, but yeah, just a little tiny bit of a wiggle, and there it goes. And of course, I do think a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that these blade stock thicknesses on these guys are a little thicker than a lot of other companies will end up trying to do there. But hey, works out super great, and this thing has some great cutting geometry here. The weight on this guy, we got 4.14 ounces, and it's 117 grams. So not too bad for one of those fangled titanium frame lock flippers. Let's see, I can go ahead and do some size comparisons here on some things. We got this guy, we got this guy here. So we got the rat number 1, the Benchmade 940, which, yeah, that's obviously much smaller. Sure, we will go ahead and go with the Spyderco Endura, which is very similar in size. Let's see, Spyderco PM2, a little tiny bit smaller. And yeah, I really do like the ergonomics on this thing. Like I said, it does swell up a little bit at the front here for it just feels a little bit more positive of a grip when I'm shoving up against that there, and because the little flipper tab doesn't curve back too much, and it has a nice rounding on there. It's not digging into my fingers in a way that I feel is unnatural or unnecessary, so that's great. We got the balance point basically right at the beginning there of the frame lock. So if you want to choke up just a little bit, then yeah, that works out all right. We do have the lock bar is a little bit proud there as well, so you know, easy enough to close up whether or not you got gloves on or not. It's just a solidly built Wong design, which I've come to appreciate about his designs. He's definitely one of my favorite designers at TwoSun. And yeah, I'm probably biased because I have fairly large hands, and he kind of does too, so he definitely designs a lot of his knives to at least accommodate larger hands, if not kind of specialize in them being a little bit larger there. But alrighty, well, this is basically what I wanted to cover here with the TS337. It's a fairly new knife, should still be being listed and things like that. Or if not, then it should be back pretty soon, because I didn't see a huge amount of these actually listed before I ended up pulling the trigger and winning an auction there. But yeah, for those of y'all who came by just to take a look at the knife, my thoughts and opinions and the measurements and stuff like that, then yeah, that's where it ends. So I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Let's see, for the rest of us, let's go ahead and take a look on the inside here. Pocket clip mounted from the inside. I generally like that aesthetic, but yeah, it does basically mean that a screw is screwing directly into titanium threads there. I haven't had any problems at all with anything from these guys regarding that, but I have had some problems on some other knives. That was some Loctite from hell, apparently. I have had some problems on some other knives that have tried to do that with like aluminum, and yeah, that doesn't work out so well. So I want to try to poke that Chicago screw out, hopefully, because it is gripping quite a bit there. Well, I suppose I can wiggle it. There we go. And yes, because we have so much milling going on the front, we basically only have the milling for that on there. Jeez, that was way more Loctite that I ended up putting on that than was necessary. There's where the pocket clip ends up mounting in there, and we got those little raceways. So yeah, quite simple in construction overall. As with most of their knives, super easy to slam them back together. Here comes a wrist cam for y'all. Yeah, very easy to get in and out quickly if you do need to clean these things out from gunk and things all up in the bearings. Yeah, nice, and yeah, we got some pretty good centering going on there. Yeah, like this guy quite a bit. But all right, yeah, that's basically everything I'm going to cover. Now that we've taken a look on the fairly bland looking inside, because we have a fairly wild looking outside, that is basically it for the TwoSun TS337-D2 steel from Wong. As always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.